All right. Normally, I bite my tongue and I don't even bring up some of these bad takes when it comes to pretty much anything. But I just can't. I fought the urge to talk about Joker previously when it had all this controversy over it about how it's so dangerous for society, and then I watched it, and there's a couple very tame shootings and one blunt one, one like quick, snappy, and just has a realistic tone to it, and a squirt of blood. And it's like, bro, I grew up watching The Thing. A squirt of blood. What are you talking about? Dangerous and violent and come on, man. That's people reaching. And then you get articles like this. The irony of this article being so dumb as hell, yet this person's saying, stop the madness. This movie is dumb as hell. Now, for anyone new here, I recently just uploaded a Movie Flaws and Awes in-depth analysis review of Joker and a few other movies, and we got more coming, but it's a simple, well, it's kind of complicated how we come up with the scoring system, but it's very simple. We look at a movie, and everything that's just good or meh gets ignored. Anything that's, anything that's just okay or meh gets ignored. Anything that's good or great gets a point, and anything that is bad or terrible gets a negative point. At the end, you take the negatives away from the positives, and that's your score. Whether it's negative 200 or positive 200, somewhere in that range, you're going to get a score, for an example. Anyway, the Joker was the highest rated so far. I think we got 5. It's a new series. We got about 4 or 5 movies recorded, and there's a lot, so much in this article that he points out of the Joker trying to think it's clever and awesome. So much of the shit he mentions, it's not even what us fans that love the movie talk about. It wasn't even stuff that I mentioned in my analysis review. It's some of the most simplistic, like the music, for example, and how it fits, like the Send in the Clowns, like how on the nose. And that's the point of it featured in the friggin' movie in the soundtrack. And this guy is so... I don't want to use the word dumb again. I don't even want to call a person dumb, but because he's going aggressive with it and he needs a wake-up call, because you can tell how he can't see the stuff that's actually deep. He can't go in deep with anything that's of depth with the storytelling. He's picking the stuff that's so superficial, obvious, and simplistic, and then flipping it and saying, look at this, look at all this simple shit that's in the movie that makes the movie dumb. You're not even pinpointing and picking out the stuff that has depth to it. You could do that with any movie. You could do that with anything on this planet. You just pick out some of the simplicities and then say, look, it thinks it's so clever. That's not at all what this movie is trying to be clever with. He goes on about, let me just pinpoint the, specifically, he gives this example of, the movie is just for people to rush to Twitter to see if anyone catches the reference. And hey, I give it up. Maybe the filmmakers thought, this references The Dark Knight. This is a great time to use it. That could have been something they thought of, but this is not what this scene means. With the depth of everything that's put together, and I showcase this in my video, this is what the scene means. Do you see this author's simplistic mentality and grabbing on to the most superficial shit and then saying that's as deep as the Joker gets? That highlights the flaw within him to not pinpoint the depth in the moment, the scene, and the storytelling and the craft to it. Not the fans and the viewers and the people that nominated this for the awards. Here is the real depth to the scene. The first time we look in through a window at the Joker, Arthur, on a bus, he sees nothing out there for him. The second time, he was just fired, he just got beaten up, just all that, blah, blah, blah. Now he's dressed in his clown nature, kind of a blend of the two words. We're progressing somewhat. And he's looking out, same type, same solid vibe to it. We're looking in through the window and he's looking out, seeing nothing for him. Now we get, and you could argue, you can add and argue, but you have one which is just the man. You have one which is the worker. So within his life as a person, and then his life as a career and as a job, you can add that to the mix. That adds depth to it. But this is what the scene means. Not a simplistic reference that this author thinks, because that's as deep as his analysis goes. Not for the fans who love the Joker, it goes deeper, but that's as deep as this author goes. And the next time we see the Joker in this shot, now keep in mind, this isn't just coincidental accident. They show the Joker on the bus in between number 2 and 3, and they don't do it from this angle. They do it from inside the bus, looking head on, and it kind of has this air to it because he's now on the hunt for answers. He has this mix of emotion between maybe being high on the cloud because he found out like his true father, all that stuff in there. So it's shot in a different way and purposefully different than this because it doesn't go in line with the connection of these three, and it's highlighting his transformation. Don't forget, the third time we see this exact angle is on the outside looking through a window at Joker in a cop car. And again, you can find the whole in-depth analysis on my Joker Flaws and Awes. It doesn't have this thumbnail. This is for a different channel. But he looks inside the cop car window. The Joker's looking out, and they show this same as kind of being chilling, and he looks out. And instead of previously where he saw nothing for him, now he sees Gotham burning, descending into madness. And don't sit there and go, oh, that's edgy, that's hard. That's the Joker. This author also made the comment about Joaquin Phoenix laughs too much. First off, you're an idiot. You are a terrible human being when it comes to your connection with being critical to movies, because that is numero uno, one of the most identifying characteristics of this character. You're saying he shouldn't laugh. He shouldn't laugh as much or hardly at all. One of the first movie adaptations of the Joker, one of the first, he falls into chemicals, so it's all about laughing gas and killing people with the pulling stuff from the comic. But still, you actually had the nerve to say the Joker has too much laughing in this. Wow. Anyway, so the third time in the final transformation, the Joker looks out, sees Gotham burning and descending into madness, and this is the crown prince of crime Joker, the character from the comic, not a white man, not a man from the streets today, because read between the lines, that's what these people are getting at. I watched the Joker movie and a lot of the scenes and the bad shit he does, and I'm like, I get this rush, and it's a great theatrical performance and put together, crafted well. The music as well is just, I said it before and I'll say it again, it's haunting and beautiful. And I don't walk away from the movie and go, man, I want to tear shit up and I want to get lost. No, I applaud that performance and I go live my regular life, detached from the unrealistic expectations of people like this author. The reason they're mad is because they think it has something to do with propping up these incels that they keep mentioning and bringing up. I've been a massive fan of the Joker as a character since I was a kid when I went to the movie theaters to see the 1989 Batman, and since Jack Nicholson, and Nicholson even earlier than that. And I have no idea what an incel is ever since these people started talking about them. I don't know what your deal is, or other people who speak like this. Anyway, so this scene is not just a sheer reference. It adds to and highlights his transformation throughout being Arthur Fleck to his final transformation formed into Joker. There's much more to it than that. There's also the dancing. Again, I break it down. There's depth to that. He doesn't mention the dancing at all. The dancing is some of the most important depth to the character that they incorporate in here, because it makes that connection with the audience and identifying some of his emotions without coming out and telling you. That dance is this identifying emotional I'm trying to catch the right words, but you get what I'm saying. There's an emotional connection there with you as the viewer without having a scene, an exposition, without having a doctor say it. You key in onto that and you get it. At first you're kind of like, that's weird. Okay, he's dancing in the subway, and then you start picking up on it. And then by the time he dances before he comes out to the show, you're like, oh my God, he's like the character of the Joker. The Joker is emerging from Arthur Fleck. And I said it before, I'll say it again. Forget character development. This is character emergence. From the first time we see him after he shoots the people in whatever, because we see him as a clown. Very beginning, he's forcing a smile. And this is depth that this article doesn't even talk about. He's forcing a smile in the very beginning. Then we show him dancing as a clown. He has that rhythm, that dance in him as Arthur Fleck. It's buried inside, so he brings it out when he has the clown makeup on. Again, this is all depth. And then later on, he does the killing on the subway, and then he runs away. He's freaked out. He's panicked. And what does he do to calm down? He does the dance, and then when he looks in the mirror, he's staring at Joker, which is starting to emerge from within Arthur Fleck. And then again, tie that into everything. Just go watch The Flaws and Oz if you haven't watched it. This is the shit that drives me insane. Joaquin Phoenix did not come out and say, "Oh, boo-hoo, I hurt my leg kicking something, whatever." Actors get hurt in a little ways, big ways, quite frequently. A lot of little stuff. Let's leave it at that. A lot of little stuff when it's a physically demanding. Sylvester Stallone, didn't he break his nose and ribs and shit multiple times for Rocky? We don't attack him and be like, "Oh, boo-hoo." No, you're like, "Oh, that's okay." It is what it is because we love the behind the scenes. Here's some chick, and first off, okay, Lydia, I don't agree with you. I think maybe you're being a little hyperbolic. I don't know. Joaquin dislocated his knee filming this scene, and Joker, give him the Golden Globes award. I think I'm speculating you're being ridiculous on purpose, but still you're like, oh yeah, your excitement is getting a little exaggerated, let's say, and I'm speculating, but I disagree with that. Dislocate your knee, that has nothing to do with whatever, but I still feel like, yeah, he should win an award because of the performance and everything that went into that. It's beautiful. So then you got this Beth person who retweets it and says, not good, because he's a white guy. That's it. That's the bottom line. Let's be real. Would have even been better if he had simply acted getting his knee hurt. It was an accident. I don't understand the logic here. He didn't go, I'm going to kick it until I dislocate my knee for the movie. The level of sheer irrational thought it's unnerving to a certain extent. Simply acting, getting it. Meryl Streep would have known how. And again, because that's a female versus this whole 2019 seemed to be this ramp up of hating white men. We can't say white females because most of the people talking about this shit are white females. I can't wait for the day this turns around and it's like, no, let's hate white men and white females. Let's see how you feel then. You know what I'm saying? Because then I guarantee you're going to be like, oh, wait, hold on. No. And we've seen that happen time and time again where white chicks are all like, oh, roo-roo. Not all. They're not all the enemy, but certain ones are all like, hooroo. And then they get on Twitter. I probably made an idiot sound, but you get what I'm saying. And then someone comes back at them like, no, whoop-de-whoop, and they can't say shit because they're talking to a person of color. I fucking hate that. All my friends that are black hate that shit, so I don't know what to say. But some black girl's like, nah, don't say that, and the white chick's like, I don't know what to say because that's not a white guy I'm talking to. I'll just block him. Anyhow, even up here when it picks out let's go right to the top. So yeah, the Joker is so dumb, blah, 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 blah. As the Joker receives, yada, yada, yada. This is one of the first flaws I picked out, and I do agree with. Yes, the title cards for any movie, title cards with any opening credits, it's a no. We don't need that. That's for Hollywood, and that's for your own egos. We don't need that as fans. When you start the movie, that's it. Just give us the motion picture, the moving live action, nothing else, no opening credits. Under no circumstance, there's probably the rare circumstance that you open it with some kind of cool animation and then lead into the movie, but then after that, no, nothing. So yes, I agree. I don't know why it's dumb though. Maybe you want to explain that a little bit, but I keep wanting to call him an artist, but that's Joaquin Phoenix. He's an artist. The author here, this barely capable author. Joker is just stupid. But you're not saying why. Why is a yellow font title card, why is that dumb? His dumb delusions of grandeur to its dumb absolute belief in its own transgressiveness. Blah, 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 oh my God. And here's him adding weight to something that isn't there, but just to turn it around and point at it and say, oh, see that? That's bad. It's a movie designed to impress anyone. Yeah, here it is. It is a movie designed to seem impressive to anyone without much of an understanding of film history. And listen, you're talking to someone who I've been obsessed with film and film history since I could walk. It was in my bones, obsessed with it. You're missing the mark. You are so missing the mark. Another thing, too, is film history. Why don't you go on to explain a little more in depth what specifically you mean by that? Because I have a feeling, since you breezed over it, I have a feeling there's weight behind these words that you think is there, but you don't go into specific detail because you don't. It's something you heard and it sounded smart, so you just repeated it. I have a slick feeling that's what you're doing. Anyway, oh, look, it's people who saw clips of Taxi Driver and... All right, brother. Okay, Joker is a movie for people who think that blood splatter and dwarf jokes are daring and provocative. No one said that. No one said that. Not one fan was like, oh my God, that blood splatter. Woo. No, we all said, what are you talking about? The blood and violence is tame. What is wrong with y'all? That was, go watch The Thing from the 80s. Go watch any slasher. Go watch any horror. Go in the horror sci-fi genre and then cry about blood splatter being provocative and daring. What? No one said that. When in fact they're extremely tired. Yeah, no, you're creating something to go against that no one said. And if they did say it, show and prove it. You're not doing that here, though. Joker is a movie for people who think that movie about class riots demonstrates actual class consciousness by Hollywood studio. And again, that is not it whatsoever. That is part of the story that they have going on. And again, here's him not being able to see the depth. Like I said before about the Waynes, usually they're represented just randomly going down a dark alleyway and getting mugged and shot and yada, yada, yada. I was against having the Waynes in this when I first heard about it, but then when I thought about it and I was like, oh my God, they come out of a theater, the city's burning down into chaos, and they duck down an alleyway to get away from the violence, popping off around there. Immediately, it fits in seamlessly compared to a lot of different representations. And again, the class riots, the society falling down, breaking down with Joker, seeing a world, something that interests him later on, creating and causing that mayhem, that falls in line with the Joker perfectly. And you don't get it. You don't even think about it. You don't mention it. You think because there's class riots, Hollywood they're saying something. The writers, they're actors, they're saying something. No. That's in the story. That's a part of the story. Bro, you need to learn how to detach. When in fact the movie is porn for views who get off on squalor. Yeah, and again, doesn't this sound like, if you're reading it, it kind of has that sound like you're trying to, but when you think about what he says, you're like, bro, you're off the mark. Joker is a movie for people who think that starving yourself, being a pain to your coworkers, and allegedly kicking a dumpster so hard you dislocate your knee is evidence of good acting. In fact, they are. And he just tweets something that a fan got overexcited and was like, yeah, give him the Golden Globes. This is the best evidence he's got. This article is dumb as hell. And it's so ironic since you're trying to say this movie is dumb as hell. Yeah, sure, it is dumb as hell. That's why it's shattering records. And that's one thing you can't take from it. The damage is done. The Joker blew up. It exploded. And you know what? People are taking notice. So move over, because you're going to get a lot more coming after the Joker. And here's another thing. Let's take a moment to note the musical cues. The White Room, Rock and Roll Part 2, Smile, Though Your Aching Heart, Come On, Send in the Clowns. These are all musical notes that were never mentioned. I'm sorry, I did mention one. Leading in with a cool song into a scene, I was like, oh yeah, because I thought it was nice and it fit and yada, yada, yada. Outside of that, these musical notes, White Room is one where I left the the thing in the video, but I didn't mention it because these are the simple. We're diving in deep and pinpointing the stuff that's better than just okay. This guy is saying that the movie's so dumb, but he's not addressing the depth of the movie. He's just simply going, look at the simplest stuff the movie has. It's trying to pretend like the movie thing, that's all the movie has depth-wise, when in fact he's not even understanding the depth of it, or at least he's not willing to dissect the depth of it and go against it. I don't think he can. And anyone could sit here and say, oh, it's dumb to show him looking out the window. Oh, it's dumb. You can do that for literally anything. You can take something apart. There's so many great movies that have these little moments that once you piece them together, just with their charm and charisma and style and flair, it does something. That same thing for the Joker. When I first watched the Joker 2-3 times, I didn't sit there and go, I thought, that camera angle on the bus was kind of a neat angle. And that got me thinking. And then on the subway, I realized, okay, they like this angle. There's something there. And then maybe the third time I watched the Joker, I noticed in the car ride, he went from being, oh yeah, and I was like, wait, that's like the bus angle. And you know what I'm saying? So there's something there. There's a little bit of flair there that fans, it doesn't mean like, oh my God, step aside. That's more genius than anything that's ever been done by a genius. No, it's just a clever thing that pieces together and string along that you can appreciate when you rewatch the show. I mean, why are you trying to make it like the movie is trying to say that's the most brilliant thing ever? And now we get to something that I do agree with when it comes to a criticism for the movie. I don't think the way it was done, I don't think it was done bad. I just am not really into the Arthur's neighbor. And I love how this guy is so afraid of diversity. Yeah, he is. He's so afraid of diversity. He says only good things about the actress who plays her, which is pretty unforgettable. It's a pretty forgettable role. Outside of being, she was funny. How was she funny? She had one scene, bro. She went, that was it. It was one scene. You're a liar. You are a liar. You are afraid to not say something overwhelmingly positive because I'm assuming you're white. You know what I'm saying? I'm assuming you're white. I bet you any money I'm right. Anyway, the film's many fake outs. Even if I'm wrong, it doesn't matter. But you get what I'm saying. I don't care what he is, but this person's definitely afraid and not going to say someone who's a person of color is was just meh, okay? And I do think that actress has definitely some talent. There was something I did see her in, and I was like, yeah, that's solid. It wasn't Domino. There was another performance. Anyhow, yeah, it was simplistic here. Very simple performance. Smile, look cute, and then boom, done. And you said, hey, she's cute. Yeah, she's a good-looking chick. She smiles, and done deal. That's not talent. It's not acting. That's being born where the majority of people think you're hot. The film's that's like congratulating someone for having blonde hair. It's like, oh my God, how did that happen? You're so amazing. The film's many fake outs, dumb. Yeah, when it comes to the fake out, that's the thing that the delusion aspect is important, very important. And again, he doesn't go into the depth of the stuff that he is breaking down into the further delusional state. Is stuff that props up his confidence and his style afterwards in the real life. It's like the delusional life or world. I don't want to say it was like practice for him, but it was what's the phrase I'm looking for? When you oh my God, when is that phrase? It's on the tip of my tongue. Like you break the ice or something. You get what I'm saying? It's kind of like that, to help that Joker persona kind of break free and emerge the way they have it play out throughout the story. And you can have that as a criticism. Sure, and let's end on this because I'm just ranting way too long, but let's end on this. Sure, you can say it wasn't for you, you didn't think it was good, you can even say it was dumb. I disagree. It was the least liked aspect of the movie for me. But you're talking about something that takes up like 40 seconds of screen time. What is she in the elevator for like 20, 30 seconds with Arthur? And then she's in like a random clip where she says something that's like 10 seconds. She's sitting next to him. They smile. She's like in the audience smiling. You took something. And this is my problem with the whole article. He took all the most superficial shit, ignored all the stuff with depth, and then claimed that this is like a sin to nominate the Joker for awards. No, you're too dumb to understand the depth in this movie, and you're too embarrassed because of how you view this for idiots. And it's eating the author up inside, knowing it. And you can say whatever you want. Anyone could say whatever you want. But the truth is, and we're not dumb forever, you could have just, your hatred for the movie could have made you just miss all the depth. That's possible. But that's what happened here. Anyway, so he took something that was like a minute in the movie, and he's like, it's dumb, yada, yada, yada. Such a small, almost, it's vital, because the delusional aspect, it has to be there. So the way it's there, it could have been worse. And are we going to really take this guy serious who highlights his own comment? Joker is 122 minutes long, yet somehow contains 183 minutes of Joaquin Phoenix laughing uncontrollably. That's enough said. We don't need to take this dude serious whatsoever. And then he goes on to suggest other works, and it's like, come on, brother. I'm actually shocked with some of the suggestions. But listen, the Joker is smarter than you realize, than you understand. You didn't get it. Hey, there's movies that sometimes it takes me a little bit for it to soak in. But you have this sheer hatred for it. I don't know what it is, but you're projecting something somewhere. And I don't know. I would say just chill. That's a lot of negativity. Is there any comments? Joker, are you a joke? Who wrote this? A 12-year-old? Joker is dumb. You mad, bro? Well, don't hold back, Dan. Tell us how you feel. By the way, my critic, Mr. Cooldown, didn't have a relationship with him. That was all in his head. Just like he pictured himself in the audience getting Cooldown with Murray. No wonder you thought it was dumb. You didn't get it. Yeah. Dumb pretty much describes this article. This is why he's writing for Slate, Tom, blah, blah, blah. I have not seen the movie and never see it. And may never see it, but I already love how much it's pissing off the Hollywood press crowd. I've never seen so many passionate vows of hatred come from otherwise reasonable people regarding a bit of entertainment. The cops in the back of the theaters looking out for well-armed worshipers. Yeah, just dumped fuel on the fire, fellas. And guess what? It wasn't the darkness of Batman responsible for the tragedy of Colorado. It was the insanity of one loser. And yeah, that was another thing too. Everyone always equates this with that shooting in Colorado. And he picked the movie. You know, he just fucking picked the movie. It has nothing to do with Batman. And the one thing about his Joker thing, if you look, it was from a cop that wasn't even there. It didn't hear it from him, and it got blown out of proportion in the media. Okay, Koss has thrown a little tantrum. Laugh out loud, this critic, and I say this very loosely, just sounds like a butthurt SJW. Sorry your crappy movie didn't get nominated. Done. Is this too subtle for you, critic? If I saw, this was the most in-depth, well-acted, well-lived, deadening of the soul by society of any movie I can remember in the media of 2013. Okay, so here's another positive comment. Dumb as hell. It's about a sort of a hell in a modern city, but how examining inside a passionate person. My mouth and throat is getting dry as hell, so hold on. Although I didn't think this was a masterpiece or that it expanded the art of film by breaking new ground, I do agree that it was extremely portrayal of tragedy and mass skill. Basic components, therefore, I can't remember. I'm trying to read through it, but Parasite should be hard to beat, but given the ultimate award for foreign film, I don't think Hollywood insiders can do that. I don't know. Well, I must have horrible taste in movies. I thought it was amazing. Slate Plus member. No, you have a great taste in movies. This dude doesn't get it. His hatred blinded him for any rationale and reasoning. And we're seeing that more and more, where this blind, misdirected hatred. And again, we're going to have like a little video essay, but I have a theory that I think is pretty wild. I don't know if I should say it without having to explain it, but it's coming up. Not only am I completely at a loss about a movie like this getting an award nomination, I just don't get why a minor comic book character generates all this hype. Is there some sort of Hollywood political... here we go. Listen. Minor. Did I hear that right? Minor comic book character generates all this hype. Minor comic book character. One of the most identifiable pop culture icons in the last, 50 years, maybe plus. Because, when he first came out, he's not big instantly. It takes a while. One of the most noticeable pop culture icons in the last 50 years. Batman's number one villain. Minor comic character. Wow. Joker's one of the best known comic characters in existence. All right, I gotta shut this down. Best ever elephant in the movies ever. Dumbo, yep, never won an Oscar either. Yada, yada, yada. I concur completely. This movie... All right, so there's a lot of comments here, but I would speculate most of them are negative. Just remember, Crash won Best Picture, so it's really hard to be the worst Best Picture. It's far above, called King of Comedy. They needed a mainstream moneymaker. Non-war, the lineup is just sad. Too much of a King of Comedy sexual feel to it, but when shot De Niro in the head, I thought that was Oscar worthy. Yikes. All right, so you can read through the comments and interact if you want. I gotta shut this down. I'm losing my voice over this. Give me your thoughts and opinions in the comment box. I'm done talking. It's your turn.